welcome to the first look with the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. So I'm gonna go ahead and start things out with this top Army Green cream to powder shade. And I'm going in with my finger. When I use these shades as a base, this is how I like to apply them. And I'm gonna apply this over the entire mobile lid. Now I'm gonna go into this a little bit lighter, a little more on the chartreuse side, cream to powder shadow. This was the reason I just could not let this palette go, is because I absolutely adore Natasha Denona's cream to powder formula. As you can see here, it is so blendable and it's just my absolute favorite formula of hers. The cream to powder shadows, that is what's unique about Natasha Denona to me. And then with the flat definer brush, I'm gonna go back into that original more army green cream to powder shadow and use this on the lower lash line. Very snug, almost into the waterline. Before we go into the next shade, I'm gonna go ahead and apply some NYX glitter primer. And I'm gonna apply this kind of in the center of the lid, leaving the outside and the very most inner part of the lid blank. Using my finger, I'm gonna go into the duochrome shade up here, tilt my head back and start to apply that over the glitter glue. One little pass into that duochrome shadow and she is stunning. All right, I'm gonna take the flat side of this brush we used with the lighter green and go back into the lighter green. I'm gonna place that on the innermost part of the lid here. I don't want it to be quite as deep as the outer part of the lid. So I'm gonna use my ColourPOp Lunch Money highlight, which is in one of my project pans, and pick that up and do a little inner corner highlighting. And then I'm also gonna put whatever's left on the brush on my brow arch. And that, my friends, I think is all done. I'm gonna pop off of here, do some liner, mascara, the hair, a lip, all the things, and then I'll come back and show you the completed look. All right, we're back. I have no idea what my hair's doing today. It's just gonna do its thing. I finished off the eyes with this McQueen New York waterproof gel eyeliner Slingshot in the shade Deep Brown. And I used my e.l.f. Big Mood mascara. For lips, I lined with the Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude Lip Cheat. Little bit of my MAC Velvet Teddy lipstick that I am working on panning, and then a little bit over the top just to sort of offset with the eyes. I used my Tower 28 gloss in the shade Magic. So let me know down below, what did you think of look 1, and stay tuned because look 2 is coming at you right now. Hi guys, welcome to the second look. I think I'll start things off in the transition with this shade up here. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in my transition, just nice and diffused. All right, next I'm gonna go into this cream to powder shade up here, kind of a mid-tone brown there. I just love this watercolor sort of diffusion of these cream to powders in here. They are so beautiful. Next, going into this deeper cream to powder shade. I'm just gonna bring this in a little bit at an angle on my lid and then bring it right up into the crease. So I'm gonna go ahead and go into this beautiful sort of rosy gold shade. It's not really gold, it's a rose gold, and apply that over most of the lid. Definitely like almost like a peachy or maybe even orangey quality to this shade. I'm picking that shade up on a flat eyeshadow brush and I'm gonna give it a spritz with some Mario Badescu facial spray. And I'm gonna especially pat along the upper lash line because that is the part of my lid that still shows a bit when my eye is open. So I always want to make sure the focus, the pizzazz, right along the upper lash line when trying to build shimmers. All right, let me look up close here. Oof, that's the scary side. Okay. You know, I don't really feel like getting it wet did all that much for that shade. So the next shade I'm gonna go into is this one over here. Sort of a peachy champagne pinky color a little bit. And it is the lightest shade in the palette. So I'm gonna use this for the inner part of my lid and go from there. Sort of lighten things up a bit. I really love a nice light inner corner, inner part of the lid look on myself. I feel like it makes my eyes look bigger, more open. I'm gonna go ahead and go in with this deepest brown cream 2 powder shadow. I'm gonna take this along the outer half of the lower lash line. This is a very pointy pencil brush that I love for snugging that darker shade up against the lower lash line. And then for fun, I thought I'd take this little brown bronzy shimmer number and put this sort of on the inner part of the lower lash line. Same brush, I just wipe it off a bit. And I just like a little bit of a shimmer on the lower lash line sometimes. I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my highlighter that I am wearing today, which is the Laura Geller Baked Gelato Swirl Illuminator in the shade Peach Glow. And take this just on that innermost part, pull it up in front of the crease. All right, I'm gonna pop off of here, do some liner, mascara, a lip, the hair, and I will come back and show you the completed look. All right, we're back. Let me tell you how I finished off the look. I used my Wet n Wild Simmer Brown Now eyeliner in my tight lane. I used my e.l.f. Lash It Loud mascara, and for lips, I lined with my MAC Soar lip pencil and went in with the ColourPOp Just a Tint in the shade A Go Go. I like this look. I don't think adding the spray to the rosy shade did me any favors in terms of texture. My eyelids now look quite dry, and that's not normally the case. And I find that with a lot of shimmers, when I wet them, they tend to look more textured on my eyes. So now I know that for next time. I hope you guys enjoyed the second look. Stay tuned. The third one is coming up right now. Hi guys, welcome to the third look with the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. I'm gonna start off in my transition with this matte shade right here. I'm very excited that it's supposed to be rainy today. I love thunderstorm weather. And we don't get near as much of it here in northern Colorado as we used to in Nebraska, where we lived years ago, where we grew up, I should say, my husband and I. Next, I feel like we owe it to ourselves to try this yellow matte down here. I love a good yellow, but sometimes I don't feel like they always flatter my skin tone as much as I would like. They can be, I don't know, make my skin look a little sallow, I feel like. Could just be me, but I don't really feel like I love it on myself. Next, I'm gonna go into this sort of murky greenish brown cream to powder shade down here and start by almost winging it out. And then I'll blend inward once I have less product. So I do want the deepest part to be on the outermost part of the outer V and a little bit up into the crease. And then I'm going to take whatever's left on the brush and kind of run that on the lower lash line. Next, I'm going to go into this shade right here. I feel like it goes the best with my shirt. A little darker than I was expecting. I think I'm gonna bring that all the way in, essentially. Now before we go into the next shade, I'm gonna go ahead and put some glitter glue on, but it's going to be this shade right here. It looks quite glittery. So I've got that applied using my finger. I'm gonna pick up this shade right here, again, using my finger, and just apply this on the center of the lid. Kind of a lazy woman's halo eye. So I'm gonna take my ColourPOp Lunch Money Super Shock Highlight and apply that in the inner corner. I'm gonna pop off, do some liner, mascara, a lip, the hair, the whole thing, the whole kit caboodle, and I'll be right back to show you the completed look. All right, here we are with the third completed look. I really like this one. I didn't know how I would feel about it. I'm not typically a big yellow gold on the eyes person, but there are quite a few of them in this palette, and so I want to make use of them. And I felt like today layering it up over the sort of taupey shade really helped, you know, add a little something extra. So I finished off the eyes with my e.l.f. Lash It Loud mascara, lined my lips with the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat in the shade Iconic Nude, and then went in with a little bit cooler toned gloss, the Maybelline Lifter Gloss in the shade Stone. Again, I really like this look. I hope you do too. Stay tuned because the last one is coming up right now. And the last day with the last look. I know some of you are probably hoping I'd do a blue or a teal look, but I kind of wanted to step outside of my comfort zone today and create an orange look. It's not something that I go for very often, but there are a lot of oranges in this palette. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with this orange matte up here. And I'm gonna go in with a dense crease brush here. Started on the outer part of the lid, but put it over most of the lid and up into the crease a little bit. All right, next we're going to go into the sort of peachy cream to powder shade right below the matte that we just used. I'm going to use this to blend out this deeper orange, a little bit more orangey than peach, I guess, but definitely lighter than the first shade that we went in with, so it's still blending out nicely. Then I'm gonna take my finger with that same shade and just apply this on the innermost part of the lid, just to give a little bit of a base to the shimmer that I want to use. And then to deepen things up on the outer corner, I'm gonna go in with this deepest brown cream to powder shade on an angled eyeshadow brush. I like to use something like this when working on the outer corner. And so this is a very small version. For the lid, I want to go into this beautiful sort of peachy orangey shade to begin. I think I'm gonna use a glitter glue today. Let's do that. We'll apply a little glitter glue to the lid and then it goes straight in with that shadow. I'm gonna pick this beautiful shade up on my finger and press it on to the glitter glue. Oh, that's pretty. This is gonna be a beautiful fall look, I feel like. Under the eye, I'm gonna go in with this shade right here and a flat definer brush. Just a little bit. And then lastly but not leastly, for an inner corner, I'm gonna go in with this shade right here. Finally, I feel like this is a shade that will pair well with this look. I think it goes with more of the orangey, peachy vibes in this palette. All right, methinks that is it. I'm gonna pop off of here, do some liner, mascara, lip, the hair, and I will come back to show you the final look as well as share with you my final thoughts on this palette. All right, we are back. This is the completed look. Let me tell you how I finished it off. I used a little bit of the Benefit roller lash to wing it out here on the side, and then tight lined with my Simma Brown Now liner from Wet n Wild. I finished off the lashes using my e.l.f. Lash It Loud mascara. This is the Milani Understatement lip liner in the shade Nude Entrance, and to top that off, my Tower 28 ShineOn lip jelly gloss in the shade Cashew. First of all, I will say I'm very glad that I bought this palette, and there is one thing I can confirm, and that is there are some very similar shades in this palette, specifically the oranges. So starting with the orange shimmers, you have this one, this one, this one, and this one. All pretty similar. Gonna look similar on the eyes. Talking about orangey mattes, whether cream to powder or actual matte shadows. So you can see here, there is some similarity, but there's also a really nice gradient to these shades here, which is what I played off of in this look today. I used this top one, the bright orange in the middle, and then the deepest brown in this look. And, you know, I'm not mad about it. I guess I would rather have less orangey shimmers than orangey mattes or cream to powders. All the cream to powder shadows perform beautifully. I've used this palette off camera as well as on camera, and so I have used a lot of these shades. One shade I'm pretty sure I won't get much, if any, use out of is this red shade right here. It's very pretty, but it's just not something that I like to wear personally. But I love this greenish part of the palette. The other thing I will say that is a slight disappointment for me in this palette are the teal and blue shades. They look really beautiful right here in a finger swatch, and the back of my hand is slightly wet, but I don't know if you'll be able to see. There's some sheerness to these shades, and I also feel like this teal has a little bit of a deep undercast, if you will, or undertone to it. So it's something that you're going to end up having a really dark look with, unless you would layer something lighter over top, like maybe a duochrome from the palette or a gold. So I was a little disappointed in the formula of those two shades, to be honest, because they are two of my favorite shades to wear on my eyes. I like the inclusion of something that I can use on the inner corner. While I don't prefer it for every single look that I might make with this palette, it's nice to have it available. It's also nice to have it available as a lid shade option if I wanted to do something very neutral. I love this duochrome shade up here, probably one of my favorites in the palette. Do you guys have this palette? What do you think? In comparison to the Alter Ego Artemis palette, which I am going to send to a friend, this is just so much better. The Artemis palette is great. It's a very good palette. I highly recommend it, especially if you don't want to pay $129 for this color story. If I had to pick a favorite look for this palette, it would definitely be the first one, the green one with the duochrome. I'm just a lover of green eyeshadows, and that was part of why this palette came to be in my collection. The green cream to powder, the deep grungy olivey greens, the yellowy goldy greens, everything about the greens in this palette fulfill my heart. They spark joy in my heart. So I'm really glad that I did go ahead and purchase this palette. Part of me was hoping that the Artemis palette would scratch that itch for me, and it is, like I said, it's a good palette, but it doesn't compare to the quality of this one. And if you're at all familiar with my collection, let me know which palette you would like to see next. But with all of that said, thanks for hanging out with me for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, I hope you would give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you can make sure that we see each other in my next video. I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful makeup days, and I will see you in the next one very soon.